I'm Mary, and I used to be a smoker. I want to give you some tips about getting ready in the morning. First, you kneel, then wig, then your hands read the Bible, and now you're ready for the day.
I'm David.
And I'm Charlie, and we're here to talk to you about the economic impacts of smoking.
That voice you just heard was a long-term smoker named Terry, who had her lungs destroyed due to smoking. The CDC and many other organizations use extreme cases to persuade people to quit their habits. While the medical impacts are often overanalyzed in advertisements, the price of cigarettes is often overlooked.
In Connecticut, the average price per pack is $9.52. That means if you smoke one pack every day for an entire year, that would cost you $3,475. In New York, which is the highest average cost, the price is $12.85, and the lowest is in Virginia at $5.25.
We interviewed a long-term local smoker on her views of the substance. So has the price ever persuaded you to quit smoking?
I've tried a few times,
And
yes.
Price is part of that?
Yeah. What did I say? 1 pack a day times, just round it off to 10. That's $70 a week times 52 weeks. Days, I can go on a vacation.
While these large prices have not persuaded many current users to quit, it has had a huge impact on the young community.
In 1965, the average price of a pack of cigarettes was only $2.85 with inflation. According to the American Lung Association, a huge 46% of young people were smokers. This number dropped drastically in 2009 to 22%. As you can see, the changes in price of cigarettes has greatly altered the quantity demanded and supplied in America. However, negative externalities associated with smoking has only recently been taken into consideration.
Externalities are side effects or consequences of industrial or commercial activities that affect other parties without being reflected in the cost of the goods or services involved. As you can probably conclude, cigarettes have many negative externalities that harm our society's health as a whole. Without government regulation, goods or services that have negative externalities are always overproduced at too low a price. That is why our government is doing its best to tax cigarettes as much as possible in order to disincentivize their use.
Do you think that your smoking habits are affecting society as a whole?
Not society as a whole. So even if I'm outside, I try to stand away from them. Because I don't want anything to happen to them. But in the meantime, I'm still not willing to give it up.
One of the largest negative externalities that smoking gives off is secondhand smoke. This is smoke that is inhaled involuntarily from tobacco being smoked by others. Often ignored by society, this passive smoking is laden with negative effects. According to the CDC, about 2.5 million non-smokers have died from health problems caused by secondhand smoke since 1964. Some of these issues include lung cancer and heart disease.
$3.40 of every $9.52 pack of cigarettes is taxed in Connecticut, which boosts our economy and actually supplies many jobs due to the health care and assistance needed by those who smoke.
My son was 2 weeks early and was over 8 pounds already. So I don't think it's the case for everybody. I mean, do I think there's any benefit?
Our interviewee stated that she did not give up smoking while she was pregnant with her son. While it is often discouraged to smoke during pregnancy, she and many other smokers believe that the media skews the image of how bad cigarettes actually are.
Smoking, like most other activities, has an opportunity cost tied into it. By definition, opportunity cost is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. Smoking takes time, and this time could be allocated doing more productive things, such as work. Another opportunity cost is incurred with the hefty price of cigarettes, and the money that could be spent on other products.
What do you think you're giving up? Like, list a few things you think you give up when you smoke.
Well, I do know that I'm not as physically fit because of the smoking, because it interferes with like lung capacity and endurance and stuff like that. I know that there are certain places that I don't want to go because I can't smoke. You know, like this trip to Australia. That's why I need to quit, because I won't be able to handle it if I don't quit. So yeah, I mean, I give up things all the time.
Would you say you're losing productivity when you smoke?
That I'm going to say no. I remember years ago when I worked in the hospital, the secretary who didn't smoke used to say to those about us who did smoke, oh, they go on an extra break or they do this. And my boss said that she found that the smokers worked twice as fast just so they could go on that break.
While many smokers believe they work twice as hard just to get that extra smoke break in between, they actually lose trillions of dollars for the U.S. economy. According to statistics, $67 trillion are lost purely on smoke breaks. Many smokers are under the false perception that they are working twice as hard, but unfortunately they aren't. Many smokers are actually embarrassed by their habits and are worried to go places, like our interviewee. In the 1960s, almost half the population smoked, so going out in public and smoking was not as embarrassing compared to now, where only about 15% of our population smokes. Smoke-free zones have popped up all over the United States and have made it increasingly difficult for people to smoke. In developing countries such as China and Pakistan, smoke-free zones are rarely enforced. The opportunity cost is also much lower, since the price of a pack of cigarettes is much lower than in America.
Each year, our government spends $500 billion on rehabilitation centers for smokers. This is one of the few occasions where the government is not doing something in efforts to make a profit. They spend all the money on rehabilitation centers and advertisements, and they get no money back directly. Even with all the government support, long-term users still struggle to withdraw.
What does it feel like to quit smoking?
Well, one time I quit smoking and coffee at the same time, and I thought my head was going to explode. I've tried to give up smoking cold turkey meaning no medicine, to help. Basically, you get very cranky, really, agitated. I don't know there are some other, physiological things that go on when you give up, This is kind of embarrassing to say on your recording, but nicotine also works as a laxative. So people who give up cigarettes tend to have that problem. I'm telling you from people that I that know, have done it. With the medicine, you're probably going to ask me that anyway, so I'll just tell you now. I tried Chantix. It made me feel, I didn't feel good when I took it. I tried the patch. It gave me nightmares at night. I tried the e-cigarette. That thing is crazy. That's for the birds. And I tried cold turkey. But, they say it just takes that one time, with the right motivation, and you're done. So I'm hoping that time's going to come soon.
So the times you have smoked, it's affected every part of your life, of your daily life. It makes everything more difficult to do.
I don't know if it's not everything more difficult. I mean, I definitely would say that my life is somewhat structured around my smoking habit, yeah. I mean, you think I go outside at a certain time every day to take a break. So I make sure that all my work is done before that time. So yeah, I guess it does kind of control my life a little bit.
So has anyone ever personally tried to get you to stop quitting, or has it just been a moral thing inside?
Your generation has been trained since elementary school to not smoke. So needless to say, my son tells me on a daily basis to stop smoking. And everyone else in my family now has quit smoking. Even the people who smoked for 40 plus years, 50 plus years, even they, come on, it's your turn now, let's go. So yeah, everybody bothers me. Sometimes when strangers say, that's not good for you, right? And I'll go, no, it isn't, I didn't know.
So you understand why people push so hard.
I do, of course.
Okay, that's about it. In recent years, many substitutes for tobacco have popped up, such as the e-cigarette and nicotine gum. While we don't know the full health impacts of these products, we do know that they make good substitutes since the amount of secondhand smoke is cut down to a minimum. The revenue from these products has already exceeded $2 billion and is expected to pass the traditional cigarette sales by 2050. While these products were made to discourage the use of tobacco, current users are wary of switching or have had unsuccessful attempts. As you can see, our society pushes very hard for people to stop smoking. However, other countries like China have completely different ideals, where almost 400 million people smoke. We actually visited China on a class trip with our teacher, Mr. McKinney, and we couldn't get away from the secondhand smoke.
While America is succeeding in lowering the number of people that smoke, we have a long way to go before we get this number to zero. The media has to remember that cigarettes are an addiction, and it is not easy to quit like they make it out to be. Substitutions such as e-cigarettes have not nearly been perfected, and we are not sure of the health impacts they have. What we do know is that smoking actually causes 1 in every 5 deaths in America, way too much for a substance that could easily be controlled.
This has been David.
And this has been Charlie on the economic impacts of smoking.